Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Greetings, guys. How's it going?
Hi. Did I get all that right? 2014,
Smashed
the first
it.
album?
Smashed
Perfect.
it. I mean, to be honest, I can't remember these things anymore either. So
You're like, I honestly don't care.
yeah, I'll take that as gospel. That sounds good to me.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's crazy, man, because when that clip went viral, were you guys like, because that album came out, it was Vamala, right? Is that
Yeah.
saying it right? That came out in 2015, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the way the internet works, somebody posted that unbelievably sexy clip of Anna de Armas lip syncing to it, and it blew up, and it was crazy.
Yeah. So the way that happened was it was a Campari advert. They did like a advertorial. They had a song already ready for it, basically. Okay. And 2 weeks before the shoot was meant to happen, the director, who's a guy, Matteo Garrone, who's fucking cool guy, he directed that amazing mafia film. I can't remember what it's called now, but he heard that song on Italian radio when he was driving his car. And apparently he rang up his director and said, we need to use this song instead. So then we got a message saying they want to use this song in their ad. And also, do you want to be in it as the band? We're going to have to either use some actors or use you guys. So we're like, fucking yeah, let's go to Milan, have a great time, meet some great people. It was great, yeah. And then, pretty cool to have Anna de Armas singing it.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude. Was it frustrating, or were you just like, because when when that happened or whatever, I think that's how I wound up even hooking up with you in the first place. Is
oh really?
I tagged like your band, because people were like, it blew up all over the place, but everyone was like, oh, who's singing it? What's the band? Like, what is this song? What is this song? And every time I saw that, it would drive me crazy because I knew it and I loved it for so long, but I was like, it's Champs, it's the band. And then I just started tagging you everywhere because people kept getting it wrong for some reason. And I was like, God damn, like, I can pay respect.
That's cool, man. So you already knew about us before that?
I did, yeah. A friend of mine was my friends and I love to trade music. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of people do too, but like we're just obsessed with it. New stuff that comes out, always like we have, the Spotify accounts or whatever. And but I always buy music. Like I'm still one of those people who buys music. I feel weird not owning or paying for an artist thing. Like I know you pay to Spotify and stuff too, but like there's nothing like owning the actual thing, right? Or even like downloading the song. Yeah. Plus I'm always afraid that like, I don't know why people aren't more freaked out by like, what if Spotify just goes under, disappears? Where's all that music that you had?
It's so true, man. I actually had this conversation with someone about 2 weeks ago. I think about everything. Like, you put so much trust in the internet existing. Like, everything is virtual. And you're paying a lot of money these days for things that could actually disappear very easily. So, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I try to explain that to my friends who are like a little, like, a little younger, like in their 20s or whatever, because they grew up. Even it's crazy because even if somebody's like, there's a 5-year difference, they're still like, they don't understand like why you have. They're like, I don't understand. It took me a long time to even get a Spotify account because I didn't. I was like, I have to have the music because at one moment, some corporation or somebody somewhere is going to be like, we're no longer playing this artist's music because of whatever reason. And it's like, well, fuck you. Like, I like to it's weird. Well, that's how anyway, my friends and I wound up, like, we had found you guys. I don't remember who found it first, but it was one of those things where like, I'm one of those people who like, you send one song, I have to check out the whole album. So since like 2014, I've known about you guys. And then the last album that you did in 2019, I really, really liked. And it's crazy to me because the one, I don't know if you guys made this connection, but the one song, it's the name of the album too, the Hard Interchange.
Yeah.
There's the lyrics in there, and I'm gonna read them like an idiot, but you should read your own lyrics to you. That's a good thing to do. So the one part where it's basically, just so I get it right, friends alone and and time is strange. That seems the hard interchange. I'm like, that's now. Friends alone, time is straight. Like I would listen to that in the beginning of the pandemic because I was like, that's exactly what's going on.
It's a Simpsons moment. Yeah, we predicted the future inadvertently.
It is. It's a total Simpsons moment.
No, it's turned out to be depressingly foreboding, hasn't it?
Right. Well, yeah. But it is one of those things where I was like, did I just not really hear those lyrics beforehand? Or is it I'm just noticing now because I'm feeling all this shit for the first time? But that's kind of become my I've sent it to like other people and I'm like, listen to this fucking song. Well, first it's a great song, but I'm just like,
oh, that's good. Yeah, Mike would be the man to ask about that. He wrote those lyrics.
Oh, cool.
He can't make it, but I wonder if he is a bit psychic. It's happened before with some other tracks where people have said, did you predict this? I think he might have a bit of a crystal ball going on there.
It's weird too, because even the Simpsons stuff, I feel like artists in general, like we're so prone to having to think about every angle of every situation, like chip off the block kind of a thing. Like you do wind up stumbling onto shit and you're like, oh fuck, I didn't know this was going to happen. But
man, sure.
Do you do you like working with your brother and stuff? I know he couldn't make it, but how did that come to like fruition?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing in many ways because obviously growing up together, you're exposed to the same things as a kid, the same music in in your parents' car. And then, you show each other music as kids, obviously. And I think there's a lot to be said for that shared background. I think a lot of bands fall out in later stages because their tastes have come from a different place. They diverged for a while and then they go like that. But I think you've grown up together with the same influences. Your tastes stay pretty consistent. So it makes the creative process a lot easier, I think. And I think it leads to a lot more longevity because you've basically had a shared experience of life in a sense. Like, that's what siblings are, aren't they? So I think you're always going to have that a closeness which is only going to help with creative projects that I think otherwise you might not have. You can still be very close friends with someone, but it's never the same as that sibling thing and that shared experience. And we can communicate in a way that we don't really have to say much sometimes. We can be in a studio and give each other a look and we know exactly what the other person's saying, which is pretty amazing. And you can't learn that. That's a sibling thing. So it's pretty fucking cool actually in that sense. Obviously we have arguments with brothers, everyone does, and you spend a lot of time together, and when you're brothers there's always stupid stuff from childhood that you don't ever forget. It spills over into adulthood. And
what's one of the things from your childhood that you guys still argue about?
Oh Jesus. Who gets to watch what TV show? Flying over the TV remote. Stupid shit, but that closeness comes with also obviously the other side, which is stupid shit, basically.
What were the bands that you said you guys listened to a lot of the same music growing up? Was there a band that was particularly influential to you?
So our parents were, for some reason, they don't even know why if we ask them now, but they were really, really into REM. I mean, I suppose.
Oh wow, great band!
Yeah, they were into early REM, so we were always listening to, like Monster, Automatic for the People, those early-ish REM albums were always on cassette in our parents' cars. And I do
great influence to have.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think there's something of Michael Stipe's songwriting. I think definitely influenced us, like the classic first chorus tease, for example, where he always does a bridge and you think the chorus is coming, then he goes back into the verse, and then the second chorus is a massive payoff because of it. There's little things that I think that we do that subconsciously we've been influenced by Michael Stipe at some point. So REM was a huge one. We also listened to just a lot of the classics, like the Beatles. Was always playing, obviously, so I think that's had a bearing on obviously the vocal harmonies and stuff. And then just a lot of British classics like the Kinks, Beatles, Rolling Stones.
Amazing.
And then Elvis, and then another one random. Did a band called the Lighthouse Family make it over to America?
No, I've never heard of them.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, they were sort of a big. It's very cheesy, but sort of a big '90s pop thing. They had
right up my alley.
Yeah, they had a sort of 1 or 2 albums, I think, that were mad successful here, and then disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, honestly, trust me, if I said to an English person one of my influences is the Lighthouse Family, I'd get laughed out of the room. It's about as uncool as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
But, that was a big one for some reason. We were always listening to that as kids as well. So, and Kirsty MacColl, Fairy Tale of New York. Our mum
yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
our mum
man.
was obsessed with her. Really loved her.
That's like one of the best songs ever. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's great. Again, amazing voice, amazing harmonies. Yeah, she's a motherfucker. She's great.
So you gave me the Lighthouse Family. I'll give you one that I always hesitate. People are always like, really? Well, I love John Denver. I don't. Right. But that is one of those ones where like I always, that's like your private time music where like I could never play it in front of friends because they'd be like, what the fuck are you? But I'm like, are you kidding me? Great lyrics, good dude.
That's it, man. That's it. Good songs are good songs.
Yeah, exactly.
But always say
that's one of the ones I will get laughed at. Like if it accidentally comes on a playlist in my friends in my car, I have to like reach for the radio real quick, or they're like, "Are you really? That's what you're doing to yourself?"
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. A bit of a guilty pleasures.
Yeah,
pleasure, isn't it? That's the point. Yeah, all for that. So yeah, that was it. We grew up listening to that kind of music, which is mostly credible. Some of it wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah, man. And so it must be good on like even a business level too. Like I can't imagine having to like have your brothers like just backing each other up in these, meetings that you must have and studio shit where you're like a solid force going in there too. Because creatively it's great, but like, having a sibling in there.
Yeah, and it's that thing of knowing that however much you could have a fucking argument about something stupid, it's ultimately because you're brothers. And I guess you don't have that level of security, maybe, if you're in a band or doing anything creative with a friend, because you could always be like, oh, shit, maybe we won't get over this argument or something. But I think the brothers thing, gives you that sort of safety thing. And for sure, like having that unity and again, that sort of unspoken understanding really helps in sort of meetings and stuff. And I think what's really good as well is we've both got the same instinct for like the kind of people we sort of want to work with, you get to a certain age and you sort of realize you get to learn the people that are doing things for the right reasons and the people who are not, and I think we've developed a pretty strong radar for that kind of stuff. And again, that's something we tend to be able to communicate without really having to say anything. We like working with good people basically.
And that's one of the best things too, is realizing that you don't need those other people to like keep furthering to keep doing what you want to do anyway. Like the minute it's such a relief, the minute you're like, oh, I don't have to work with assholes, so I don't need to do this, and you just walk. Yeah,
and there's no shortcut to learning that. I think that only comes with age, and self-assurance only comes with age. You don't start out at 18 and have this feeling of I'm not going to work with dicks because you feel like you need all the help you can get. But you get to say, you fuck these people, like they're just Anyway, well,
you're absolutely right though. It is so true that like when it seems like such an easy thing to figure. Like once you get to the point where you're older and you look back and you're like, why did I do that? But it's not that obvious then because
that's it, right?
You're like, oh, I'm paying my dues. And then you're like, no, you're not. I'm only hurting myself here. This is a waste of time.
Yeah. So I guess you must have had similar experiences though, right? In comedy.
Absolutely. Oh my God, dude. Yeah. I mean, between starting out with club owners and, just the worst of the worst, basically, where you're learning like, oh, this, like you kind of get a vibe when you get into a club and situation, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I have to pay my dues to some extent. I'm not on anybody's radar right now. So let's go through this. But you also get a kind of feel of like who just yes this guy to death and never come back. You know what I mean? You're here now, do the gig, get get out. And it's not going to like, I just, there was a kid who's starting out in stand up or whatever. And he was asking some other comics who, established or whatever for advice. And he got to me and I was like, should I do it? And then I was like, yeah, no, I'll do it. And I was like, I know a lot of guys are just going to be like, just get up every night and work hard. That's great. That's good advice. And I was like, no club or bar has ever started or ended anyone's career. And I'm like, so just use them. You know what I mean? Because when you're young, that's what you think. Like, this is my bit or whatever. And I was like,
that person's going to be in the audience and they're going to spot me and they're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And I
doesn't
was
happen.
like, no one's gonna make or break you, so just fucking get better, keep going, and you know, and that's it.
Yeah, use it as a training ground to hone the skill, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the crazy thing is, like, when I think about it, I've met a lot of good people. Like, it's just a few. For some reason, the dicks always kind of like they live in your brain a little longer than you'd like them to. But it's also, I think it helps you like recognize people who are like that more. You're like, oh, that guy is exactly like this other guy I met.
That's
Fuck that
exactly
shit.
right. And as you said, like the flip side of that is some of the best people I've ever met in my life I wouldn't have met had we not been doing this. You know, traveling around, being just fucking cool people that, yeah, I just never would have crossed paths with, and that's the one of the funnest parts of doing the whole thing for me. It's just the people you meet. You just meet crazy people. You get in crazy situations sometimes, and that's what it's all about for me.
Absolutely. What do you have a particular crazy situation you've gotten yourself involved in where you're like, am I going to live through this?
Woken up in a few places, obviously, and not really knowing how we've got there. We did have one serious tear up in Berlin once, and didn't sleep, and then had to drive back to London from Berlin in one hit.
Holy shit!
So we were like, "Fuck it, what else can we do? Let's just get on it again." So started drinking rum at about 8 a.m. after an all-nighter. We were on the autobahn going fast.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the van was so fucked, they thought it'd be a good idea to pull the sliding door open while we were going about 100 on the autobahn.
Holy shit!
Obviously, fuck with the aerodynamics. Very nearly had a crash. That was pretty tasty.
Holy fuck, dude!
Yeah. I think it's you get a bunch of British lads on tour with unlimited alcohol. It's a recipe for. We once jumped on broke onto the Greenpeace ship as well. What was that called? The Rainbow Warrior.
You broke into it.
Well, it was in the dock in Amsterdam. So we thought we fucking got to do that.
Yeah.
So, we boarded the ship and it was great. Took a few photos.
Holy shit, dude!
Got away with it as well. No one even saw us. Straight in and out.
Oh, that's a great story, dude. Do you still have the pictures?
Yeah, I'll send you one after.
Please. That's fucking hysterical.
It'll take me a while to find, but yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking hysterical, man. Have you done a lot of stuff in the US?
So not a lot, but no, in fact, no. Show-wise, we've only done literally 2 or 3 shows. So we did one in LA. I was going to say last year, but nothing happened last year, did it? So it must have been 2019.
Yeah.
At a really cool venue. What was it called? Shit. Was
it the Roxy?
No, it wasn't that big, but it was in. Oh fuck! I can't remember any names of anything. It was good. It was
all right. It was good.
And we did another one in Venice Beach for a place called Winston House, which is like.
I know where that is.
Yeah, it was really cool. So that came about.
That's a nice place.
Yeah, it was wicked. So we did a sort of unplugged 2-piece one, and that was great.
Sweet.
In fact, that was our first ever American show, so that was quite a big deal for us.
What year was that?
It must have been 2017, maybe.
Okay. I was at LA, but I was gonna say I would have fucking been there in a heartbeat. I don't know how I missed that.
Man. Yeah,
I was literally just like, "What the fuck? How did I miss that shit?" But no, okay. Yeah, I didn't think.
Apart from that, no, we haven't played much. We've done a few trips, and our label. So we're actually signed to an American label. So
cool.
We would have been on there a lot this last year. So again, that was another disappointment of the whole thing. We were supposed to be spending a lot of time in the States, but had to not do that, which was sad for us.
Yeah, you got to come to my neck of the. You got to come to Asbury and do the Stone Pony when you guys come back. If you come back out here, I'll set that.
This is what we need: is like proper recommendations of actually really cool places to play. And that's the thing.
Dude.
I'm not just saying this as well. Like America was always the goal. I suppose it's for most people, but yeah, it was always the holy grail for us.
Yeah.
We grew up sort of always that, for a British band playing in America is it's a fucking big deal.
I'll give you some definite places that are fucking awesome to play over here. Were you guys you were talking about the pandemic, you mentioned like it kind of put things on hold. This new album that you got coming out, was that part of a plan to release before the pandemic hit, or did you guys do this during the pandemic?
So, yeah, we still haven't finished it. Well, we're 99% there, but
Nice.
that's been because of the pandemic. We just haven't been
Right.
able to get in the studio. So, yeah, we probably would have finished it probably a year ago, but we just had little windows of being able to record. We were last in the studio a week ago, and we've very nearly finished it. It's literally the last finishing touches. So that's exciting. But yeah, the pandemic is very much influenced it. But you know, there's silver linings to these things. We made changes, a few changes to the album last week that we wouldn't have made, you know, if the pandemic hadn't happened, and a couple of tracks have made the album which might not have had the, you know. So you just got to look at it like that, you know. It's
a couple of tracks maybe influenced by stuff that's going on, or just stuff that you got to revisit later.
Stuff that we got to revisit more
That's
than anything.
Cool.
Yeah, it was stuff that we had time to actually realize a bit more in the studio and go, oh shit, actually this is a good song, rather than is it going to make it? Probably not. So yeah, you know, that's the way we look at it, is, you know, kind of everything happens for a reason without being too superstitious. But you know,
no, I hear you, man.
Well, yeah, you know, you've just got to flow with it. You know, you just got to see what happens.
I was on the road before all of this hit, and then I actually was working my way back home, and one of the last gigs I did was in New York. And the day after I got back home, they were like, we're shutting everything down. And they were also like, if you've been in New York, you probably had, thank God I never got it. And I've been hunkered down, you know, and not going anywhere. But it was a weird kind of like thing where you, like, when I just remember being on the road and hearing about how you should be out. But I was like, I'm going to finish up these shows. No one's really doing anything. I don't know what's going on. And then the day after I got back home, they were like, yeah, you don't go anywhere. And I was like,
that's what we were saying. It's how quickly it went from it's fine to fuck, this is bad. It happened in like a week.
Yeah,
for us.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It went. Yeah. I was really, you know, I read a lot of the news, and I was relatively, you know, I was following it very closely, but I was not that concerned. And then it was a week later, we were in lockdown. And we had, you know, the government giving us proper fucking announcements. It was, you know, it was really scary, man. I was scared.
I agree, man. Yeah, me too. It was one of those things where, like, I have videos of shows. I'll like, you know, tape my sets or whatever at these clubs or whatever. And one of them was in New Hampshire, and it was like about a week before I was in New York. But I didn't even think about it at the time. But it was, you know, Corona was still in the news a little bit here and there. And I was making I was like, one of the opening things I would open up with was a couple things about, like, you know, something along the lines of like, hey, like, we're going to die. We're all going to die right now. Like, we've all got it now at this point. But just literally joke around about it, where I'm like, I cannot release that.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Like, yeah.
But that's where it was. We all thought it was going to blow over. I think that's the thing. Well, I think the thing that shocked me was how little, you know, governments even knew about it, even at that stage. Yeah. They thought it was just going to blow over, didn't they? And I can't recall anything else in my lifetime where you've been basically as informed as people who are supposed to be a lot more informed than you at any given moment. Because they didn't know what the fuck was going on either. Right. And that was what was scary for me. It was like, these guys don't know what's going on, so I've got permission to panic now.
Yeah, exactly. And oddly enough, like, for some reason, when the authorities in the situation didn't really know what was going on, it also kind of made me feel a little better, because I wasn't doing my job to be more informed. It was like, oh, we're all fucked. Oh, thank God. Because I thought it was just me. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Where I was like, well, fuck it then. I guess I'm doing what I can.
So were you in the middle of a tour?
Yeah. We had I'm in Jersey. Jersey did pretty well with it. Our governor had some slip-ups in the beginning, but quickly got a hold of it. But we also had those morons protesting in front of a Fuddruckers and a barber shop, being like, why can't we, you know? So we had a lot of those, but overall Jersey did okay. You know, New York did all right. My friends in Florida don't know what's going on. They're still doing whatever the fuck they want. I think it just got to 2 million in Florida the other day, like, cases, and idiots are still fucking beaching it and all that other shit. I've got family in England, in Bournemouth.
Oh, and, cool. Yeah, real nearby.
Yeah, I think and my grandfather's from Brighton. Yeah, I've never been, but
Brighton. Oh man, Brighton's sick. There's an amazing festival
really?
every year called Great Escape, which is like it's a bit like the it basically is the British South by Southwest actually.
Really?
So, yeah, it's really really good. So if you ever get a chance to go to Great Escape in Brighton, definitely do it because you'll see some future stars basically. Really,
yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that.
Brighton's awesome. Brighton's a proper Victorian seaside town. It's a real throwback.
That's the only thing I knew about it, was that it was a seaside town, which is where I coincidentally wind up. I live near the beach, so I'm
amazing.
like, must be some kind of thing, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey.
Cool. Right. Yeah. So all I know about New Jersey.
You're the only person who's ever said cool, but thank you.
Well, yeah. Sopranos makes me think New Jersey's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The mob shit. Yeah. I'm Italian, so we got a little of that going on.
There we go.
Yeah. Grandfather. I'm a quarter English because of my grandfather, and I never bring it up because of how I look anyway. People are like, we don't care. You're Italian, and that's all we're gonna keep focused on. That's cool though. So have you been like able to are you doing live stream shows and stuff during this, or just kind of, because this is what I've been doing. I mean, I was like decided to talk to people because I was like, I'm gonna go insane by not being on stage. So
this is awesome. Yeah, like we deliberated doing live streams. I think what we found with musicians was there was that real period when everyone suddenly was doing a live stream. And it became a bit saturated. Yeah. People doing gigs from their bedrooms. And then that was when we were thinking about doing it. And then we thought, well, let's wait wait till that's all sort of died down a bit. So we don't just get lumped in. And then we just sort of waited too long and never did it, to be honest.
I almost did the same thing where I mean, this is, I started late because I felt the same way where I was on everybody's shows. So I was like, why am I'm on a podcast or 3 or getting interviewed in the press like every other week. I'm like, people are going to be sick of me by that point. So I'm just going to do this shit and do whatever. And then it got to the point where I was like, I really want to create at least something on my own and interview people I'm a fan of and, and try to get to know people or whatever. So yeah, it was saturated. I don't know if it happened in the music scene as quickly as it did in the comedy scene, but like, OnlyFans got like, I swear to God, dude, within like 3 weeks of shutdown, comedians were like, check out my OnlyFans. I'm like, it's been 3 weeks. How do you did you already have this geared up? like this has clearly been on your mind. Like that you have, because I'm like, because at first I was like, are people getting desperate? I'm like, this is a quick setup. You have,
yes, I can finally launch it.
I was like, you guys didn't wait long there's a lot of that shit that went on where like, I feel like when we still thought we had a chance of opening up in about a month or so, people just, they were like, I haven't showered in 4 days. I'm like, that's on you, dude. It's only been, that's a you thing now that you feel comfortable saying because there's a pandemic going on, but
there's never
way too comfortable.
Yeah. No, but this is rad, man. It's fucking cool.
It is.
That, people are, that's the thing. We probably should have done something, but
no. I mean, like, there's not going to be a third wave. Stop. I know. I hope there's not. But I got my vaccination about a week ago. So yeah, I got it. I made sure my mom got it because I didn't care. Like, I was like just making sure that's taken care of. And then I got mine, and I'm now harassing my manager to be like, okay, you got to start booking shows as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to be, I don't know how long this vaccination lasts, but as soon as I get that second shot, I'm fucking gone.
Oh, man, that's it. That's good news. Yeah, we're still waiting for it. But yeah, parents have got ours, so happy about that.
That's good. Yeah, that's the most important thing, I feel like, is just if you kept, everybody else, because we're young enough to fucking probably survive it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I feel good. I'm like, maybe I don't know. I've been eating a lot of cheese, so that's probably going to wind up killing me before Corona winds up doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? You got there's a lot of other things that are pretty fucking dangerous as well. I'm freaking drinking all the time.
I know, that's the one thing I'm glad. Not that I'm glad. I wish I had, like, all my friends have been like drinking constantly, and for some reason I stopped. I have no idea why, dude. I'm like, I don't. I guess because it's like I didn't realize how much of a social drinker I wound up becoming. But like, because there's nobody around, I'm like, well, fuck. It's just me and the cat. I'm not gonna.
No, Actually, that's the thing. Me saying I'm drinking all the time. I've only started drinking again in the last 3 or so weeks because it's starting opening up, so we can meet up with people again now.
Oh, nice.
I'm exactly like you. So that was the thing. I stopped drinking. Well, I drank at Christmas and then thought I'll give it a rest for a bit, and then I just did 6 weeks stone cold sober without even trying, and it wasn't difficult. And that's the longest period I've gone without drinking since I was probably 15 years old, and it was so easy because I'm a social drinker. I'm the same. I'd get a beer at the weekend and think, well, do I really want to be drunk watching this film, or do I want to be sober watching this film and actually remember what happens?
Right.
Pretty simple for me, yeah. So I'm actually exactly the same, and like so many of my friends were getting fucking hammered like all the time, like really drunk. One of my friends got a full pay but didn't have to go into work for a year, so he was just on his full salary at home all day, every day, just getting fucked every day.
Wow.
And we were like, whoa, man. And he's like,
I feel like I got more drunk phone calls from friends during this than I get when they're out having fun normally.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I think it showed who's in what camp, didn't it? Like people who just love drinking for drinking and people who love drinking for socializing. And I'm definitely the latter. Without socializing, I'm just kind of like, well, you know, what's the kind of point of having a hangover tomorrow for nothing?
Exactly. Like, why would I wake up shit by myself without anybody to get like a sweet breakfast with or something like that? I can't even, you know. Yeah, it wasn't a good time. I have those friends who'll one of my friends will call me like completely plastered, and then she'll tell me she has to go, and I'm like, you called me? Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, she'll be like, ramble some shit off. Yeah, and I'm like, listen, I gotta go, and I'm like, you have to go? Like, it's fucking 4 a.m. I
was asleep.
Yeah, exactly. I thought something happened, but guess if you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a blast.
Sounds cool.
Did you get caught up in any of that Netflix shit when you were like, people were like, I've watched more people get murdered during this and like true crime shit because I went through like Avengers film franchise stuff, all the franchises. I just did like Star Trek, Avengers, Marvel shit, and then I was like, I'm gonna watch people die for like.
So I've avoided that.
Good job.
Yeah, again though, all my friends did that. All of my friends got very into murder stuff, and I think I get too involved in that stuff, and I can't switch off from it. I'm awake from that, thinking about it.
Me too.
But actually, really good. I tell you what, there's a really good similar thing. Are you interested in like cold case things? Like
yes,
yeah, right. So there's an amazing thing about where we're from, the Isle of Wight. 5 fishermen, 10 years ago, got busted for the biggest cocaine seizure in UK history. It's like £53 million worth of cocaine, which they'd apparently brought in from a cargo ship and then dropped it in their lobster pots and then pulled it up the next morning, caught in the act, blah, blah, blah. But they maintain their innocence. And there's a lot of people thinking it's a huge miscarriage of justice. And The Guardian, the newspaper, just did a podcast about it about 2 weeks ago.
Wow. So
I've been listening to that religiously, absolutely hooked. So
holy shit, all right.
The Freshwater 5, the Guardian podcast is so good. And it's all about the White.
Freshwater 5. I feel like I've written down more shit during this episode than any other episode I've had. I'm like, hang on a second, you said what now? But this is great, man. Yeah, I love that kind of shit. I got wrapped up in a couple things. One of the ones was on I don't know if you get Sundance by you.
Yeah.
Okay, so they had a thing called No One Heard a Thing, and it was about it was a town in Skidmore, Missouri. Which, by the way, just the fucking name of that town should send chills down your spine. Because when I don't know how much time you've had. Like I know you went to LA or whatever. If you've had any experience in America overall or anybody, but like so. Even for Americans, when we watch shit like that, we're like, there's no fucking way these hillbillies really exist, right? Like, we're blown away by that. So Skidmore, Missouri is like, they pan like the town, and it's like something you'd see in a movie where it's just dilapidated houses, they're crooked.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no fucking way people live in there. And then the people that do live in there come out, and you're like, okay, but we're quarantining this town, right? Like, So, like, did COVID come directly from this area, or?
Yeah.
But there's a. It's. I won't tell you too much about it if you wind up watching it because it like the twist is nuts. But so this town Skidmore's supposed to be cursed because of what happened in this town. There was like a whatever the redneck version of mafia is. Like this guy. I don't know. I don't have a lot of Southerners on this show. Doesn't matter. But there's a, or I won't now. I don't know. Whatever. Tom's probably like, shut up. So this guy was like just this horrible dude, right? Terrorized this town. And the only friends he had were basically people who were just terrified of him, but like that he kind of aligned himself with until he decided to kill them. Or whatever, and he was like basically just like his girlfriend or whatever that he wound up impregnating was like super fucking young, like whatever, just horrible dude, right? And the town, some people just had enough, and they fucking murder him in broad daylight, and the entire town. This is why it's called No One Heard a Thing, because the way where he did it, the guy's truck was parked in this like right in front of a diner. So you got the diner, convenience store, main part of town, and apparently 4 dudes approached him in the car, all fired, so nobody could figure out who the gunshot was, whatever. And then they pieced, and everybody in that area was like, "We don't know what you're talking about. We didn't hear anything. We heard the gunshot, but we didn't see anything." And also the crap. And there was like a huge investigation for years, and the people are like, "How the fuck? Like somebody in this town knows." But
so good.
You got to watch it, dude. It was, and not only that, so like after that, like you find out so much more shit about the town, what's been going on there, and what like why they think it's cursed, because like some people are like really like superstitious about like it's a curse. This is why this town's had so much bad luck, because no one will come forward. But like the majority of the decent people in that town are like, well, I don't give a fuck who did it. I'm glad they did it. And you kind of like understand that too. Like it's the one time like it's solidarity against like, because I guess the cops are like law and justice or whatever for once, you know what I mean? After like years of just abusing the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, they're like, we need to find out who. But like at the end of the day, you're like, I'm so proud of these people for like
basically overthrowing a fucking totalitarian dictator rising up. That's amazing. What's the show called?
It's called No One Heard a Thing.
No One Heard a Thing. That's it. Yeah.
Cool. And the craziest thing about that too is like no one cared about this town while all that shit was going on in the first place. So why should they give a fuck about, the authority never cared.
Yeah. That's it.
So they had to handle it themselves. So it's wild, dude. You got to see that. That and there's another one too called like the Cecil Hotel that fucked me up a little bit, because the Night Stalker is kind of connected with that too. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I didn't see that. But no, I love the sort of underbelly of America, dark shit. Like the first season of True Detective, it will always be one of my favorite things ever. Like the South, like whoa.
Yeah, I know, dude. Even the True Detective, that first season of True Detective was fucking amazing. I love that show. But yeah, the South is even like my one of my best friends and I tour together, and she's another comic or whatever. And when we go on the road together, it's kind of weird because she's out and she's married to a lesbian, and then I'm super liberal and I look like me. So like we'll go to these Midwest towns, and the deeper you get, they're like we're literally sometimes like, all right, you start the car, I'm gonna do this show, because like I barely tailor my act as it is anyway. And when we were doing when Trump was in office, I didn't hold back no matter where I was. So sometimes you were like, we gotta go. Fuck.
Is it actually like that? Is it like a proper vibe?
Yeah. Only with him. I've been doing stand up. I think when I started, Bush was still, George Bush, W was still in office. And then, but only with this guy was it like for some reason they had just locked in, identified with him, and you could not make fun of him, or it was like you were directly making fun of them. Even if you're doing like innocuous jokes, it was I'm not I don't get up on a soapbox and preach anything, but like even like especially towards the end of his I'll call it a reign because it was horrible. But even towards the end of it, like you could tell it felt like there was like blood in the water, because they knew they were losing their grip on whatever was going on.
Well, for sure.
Yeah, and there's one of the last things I posted on TikTok, I think, that went viral was I just had a clip of this. So I was doing a gig in Michigan, and this like few tables of Trump supporters tried to like disrupt the show, and I of course gave them shit. But it was interesting because they were like just chanting his name, and then I'd said something along the lines of like, if that's the only, I don't know. I went a little bluer when I was like, yeah, is that the only way you can actually get off now? Is if you fucking that's got to be so disappointing for your wife. Is that you literally have to say his name so you can come? And then I was like, he hates you, right? I'm like, that's the craziest thing. It's always people he would never hang out with his entire life.
Great.
And so it was fun.
Oh man, thank fuck that's over. Christ.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Like a bad dream.
Seriously, I know, and it's crazy how like when I talk to people like in the UK and stuff like that too, they feel the same. It's weird how wide his reach was of just horseshit.
Yeah, and it's like I think he emboldened that side of politics over here as well. Like, you know,
you guys got it.
Yeah, you know, if that's happening there, it's basically happening here now. You know, we're not really separate countries so much anymore. So like, our government totally felt massively emboldened to just basically do the same thing. Like they just did a lot of dog whistle stuff to all the fucking bad people in this country and made them feel like they had a voice for the first time. Because that's the thing. I've never been deluded about the fact that these people exist in society, but they never really had a voice before. But these politicians just said, no, it's okay. You can speak up. And that was the scariest thing. Like it's basically a bit of an uprising, wasn't it, really?
Right.
Fucking...
and it's a good point you just made too, is that they never had a voice before, where it's like you knew they existed, because that was a lot of like explaining to, you know, there's a lot of comedians that are like slightly conservative or whatever, they've got like a little bent on that direction, and they didn't quite, some of my buddies like didn't quite understand like why people were speaking out on the opposite end so much, and like Jesus Christ, like when did everybody become political? I'm like, well, when it became more about, you know, the wrong types of people rising, you got to say something, because they existed before, but they, like you just said, you put it perfectly, they never had a voice. They didn't have an icon to like say it's okay to be a piece of shit.
That's exactly it, man. And we've got it here. Like Brexit was that for us. It was supposed to be something about fucking trade, is what they all pretended it was about. Was we were free to trade with the rest of the world, and it wasn't. It was just a bunch of fucking racists had something to get behind for the first time in a while, basically, and it was fucking horrible. And you know, it basically was, they won, Brexit won, leaving the European Union won by 51%, and you could basically come out of that and go, okay, right, cool, now I know the actual number of racists in this country. It's just over half.
I know, exactly, and it's the same with ours too, dude. Even how like no one really wants to talk about how close the election was between Biden and Trump, but it's fucking close.
Yeah, totally.
And so, you know,
frighteningly close. You know, these people are there.
And the funny thing is if it wasn't for the fact that like his supporters are so fucking dumb and didn't want to vote by mail, you know, like, can you believe the fucking U.S. Postal Service is the thing that cinched this deal?
I know, it's so fucking good. It's so good. Yeah. Actually, mail saved the day.
Yeah, I know. We're all packed. We don't know where to go anymore.
No, that's it, man. It's I'm just gonna get my beer. That's good.
Yeah, do it.
But yeah, does it feel better over there now? Is it palpably a different mood since?
Yeah, it's an I was just actually on I was on Sirius talking about this, because we were talking about you know, there's still shit. Obviously, we're always gonna have stuff we need to fix, and you know, Biden wasn't my first choice. I'm a Bernie Sanders guy myself, and I can't wrap my head around the idea that people didn't like that guy.
Mate, like, same Jeremy Corbyn over here. It's like,
yes, dude, I know. Exactly, man.
Why
and
would you dislike this man who's trying to make your life better?
Yeah,
what? I don't get it.
I know. It blows me the fuck away. And like all the shit, like I remember screaming at the TV watching CNN at one point, because, you know, I don't know what it's like over there too, but we have like, you know, 3 major networks all owned by the same fucking company. It's an asinine system, but you know, they're hardcore. They tote the line, Democratic kind of thing or whatever, you know what I mean? And they had one of their newscasters with a thing on the bottom, and the headline was Bernie Sanders or coronavirus can either be stopped. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you? Because he was in the, he had a decent lead, and he was the front runner. And then there was another point where they wouldn't admit he was the front runner. And Klobuchar, that fucking useless, whatever, was in third. And somebody on CNN was like, you could even go as far as to say that third is technically the new first place. And I was like, say his fucking name. Like, are you kidding me? That just corporatists that just, full on capitalists that don't want to fucking share their wealth or anything like that. Like, they don't want to lose any money out of their fucking pockets.
That's literally what it is, isn't it? That's all Corbyn was doing. He was saying, look, can the really rich people just pay a little bit more?
Yeah.
And it's like, no fucking way.
Yep.
Like, great.
I'm hoping the next kind of marching in the street and shit that gets done is for healthcare. I honestly believe that, like, if everybody got together and just did that kind of shit, and like, how are people not doing that? Like, when you're getting fucked over by these healthcare rates, I feel like people should be out in the street every fucking day.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel. I don't get it. And it's, we have it here with tax evasion. Like, there is some serious fucking tax evasion happens here. That's basically how we operate as a country now, is we just say to corporations, you won't have to pay as much tax here as you will in Europe. That's our MO.
Right.
And the media tells our populace to punch down and that's the same over there. Direct all your anger at people who have less than you instead of looking up and saying, hang on a second, we're fucked because of them, not because of them. But people fucking believe it. They just swallow it. It's so easy. It's so easy.
It's crazy how much you realize you're fed when you're younger, where you're like, all cops are heroes, doctors are great, and it makes you like, it's a hard. I understand it, because sometimes when I talk to like people in my family who are like, from like an old, like one of my aunts is like close in her 70s, she cannot wrap her head around the idea that if you're wearing a uniform, you're not. You can't be a prick. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, you've been, white for most of your life, and an occasional tan in LA, and that's about it, and always taken care of, by the way, by somebody too. Like, it's really hard to explain to people who don't get it like that, and it's like,
it's hard to explain the invisible privileges that people have to them, isn't it?
It is.
The million ways that you're privileged. It's really hard to see, because you don't know it's there.
Yeah,
it's
I had a guy come to. Yeah, and it is crazy too. Like, I don't like. What's weird to me is when people agree with that sentiment. I'm like, are you out of your mind that you you're not, like, none of us are here because, like, I feel like if you were, I was talking to, do you know the band Milo Green?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So Marlena was on, and she had said something. We were talking about how if we had the option, if somebody said to you before you were born, like, hey, listen, you got a choice if you want to come out or not. You're not gonna be able to afford healthcare. You might be slammed with massive bouts of depression. No one really cares about your well-being. You know what I mean? Like, if you were just given a list, we were both like, we'd be like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm good. Yeah. Like, I
can't afford to buy a house for some reason.
Yeah, your parents might not be taken care of when you get old. You might not be able to afford. There's no earnable living wage, regardless of what. Like, you're like, who wants to do it? But people who fight against it blow my fucking mind.
I think there's this weird thing. We've all been convinced, haven't we, by whoever, that everyone can be a millionaire one day.
Yeah.
And I think all these people we get over here so much with people defending people who've got nothing, defending billionaires. And I feel like saying to them, sorry, mate, you're not going to be a billionaire. Like, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I think that ship sailed. So, like, maybe don't protect billionaires because you think you're going to be one day. Like, that's the tragic thing about it for me. It's like, people think it's going to happen to them, so they're like, I don't want to pay more tax when I'm a billionaire, so I'm going to fight the fight now. It's like,
you're killing me, because there's a great Jack Kerouac quote about that, and he literally, and it's basically in essence what you just said, but there is a great. I'll if I was fucking better at this, I would have known that. It's killing me. I'm like, what the?
That'd be fucking impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it would be impressive, right? I'll have to go back in and edit it and then slip it in a different T-shirt. Like, hey, I think that this is good. But yeah, it's basically exactly what you just said. It's that everybody's convinced somehow that one day they'll be rich and they're gonna be fine. And meanwhile, they're
that's it. And it's like we just need to fucking stop these people from mugging us on a daily basis. It shouldn't be that hard.
Exactly. I had a guy come over. This is so boring, by the way, but I'm sorry. There'll be a point to it in a second. Something going on with the heating in the house, right, or whatever. It's way too high. The heating bill way too high this past winter. So of course the electric company sends over somebody, and they're like, "We'll give you free light bulbs, and we'll let you know what the deal is going on." And of course, the end of that situation was, "Oh, you're not spending enough money to save money," and it's like, "Are you fucking like? How did I not see this coming?" That I thought, so they sent over some schlub to try to convince, to buy more shit or whatever. And then the other one is that I was like, the real problem is that I'm alive. And, and this costs
so much money if I wasn't alive.
Yeah, I know. I was like, so what you're saying is I'm living and you guys aren't a big fan of that. Like that's basically what all that, like even walking into a doctor's office, sometimes I get the impression that are like, oh, will you just die already? Like you're just hanging on to nothing.
That's the thing though that we don't have to deal with, thankfully, yet.
Yes.
The healthcare thing, like I just can't imagine that. And that seems just
I was feeling particularly awful I had I had the shot or whatever, and I knew there was going to be some side effects afterward, but there was like just some stuff, like it lasted a little longer than I thought it was going to. They say it'll happen in younger people because it'll like your immune system's stronger, so it's really trying to fight against it. So that made more sense to me once I had read that. But like it lasted longer than I thought it was going to for the first one, right? So I went into we have urgent cares over here, which is just laughable, by the way, because there's nothing urgent about the care you're possibly getting. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. So like there's the hospital, there's an urgent care, and then there's your primary care doctor. So I run into this urgent care real quick, and I find there's nobody in there. It's fucking empty. And I have to give them my insurance card, and they were just like disgusted. And they were just like, we don't take this insurance. And I was like, look. And I was like, if I could just get somebody to let me know if I'm done, like if I can just go if I got to go somewhere, if I got to make an appointment just real quick. And they're like, I think they go to me, do you really think a doctor is going to walk out here and take a look at you or whatever? And as they said that, like 30 seconds later, a doctor had to come out to the front to ask a question. I went, well, there's one right now. And I and it was almost like he was trying not to make eye contact with me, because if he looked at me, he'd have to actually follow the oath to help people. And I was just like, I was fucking livid, dude, when I walked out of there. And I was just like, and I knew there was nothing I could do about it. So I had to just walk out. Nobody,
What?
Yeah, they wouldn't take it.
And
then and they go to me, why don't you just pay for the day? And I was like, oh, in my head, I'm thinking like $30 or whatever, $150 they wanted me to pay. And I was like, nah, I'd rather, I left like, I hope this fucking kills me.
Honestly, that's unimaginable to us. Like that blows my mind. That honestly, there's a hospital 2 roads away. I could walk in there now, sit down, get seen to, get overnight care, and walk out the next morning. See you later.
I might take a trip to England just so I could hug a doctor. Like I think after this is over, I just be like, they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine if you just hold me for like a half hour.
Yeah. Do it, man. Get your money's worth. Honestly, that is really. I do realize how lucky we are when I hear stuff like that. But we have a government who are trying to get rid of that.
I know it feels like there's never. It's weird to me that like, I have friends, and I'll do this in my act every now and again too. With like, but it still blows my mind because it's true. I have friends who like people in general who'll be like, who'll shit on like fantasy movies. And they're sci-fi, whether it's space, Marvel shit, or whatever it is. And like, oh, I just can't put myself in that magic, like the spells and the words. And it's like, dude, our entire fucking society is built on magic. Okay. Like every year one party casts a magic spell that's a bill. and we think we're safe, and then the evil party casts another one and tries to get rid of it, and like it's all magic. It's all
and
fun.
we believe in these like made up things called countries, which is
yeah, exactly. Invisible barriers you can't cross, or you get shot out of the sky. Fuck off. Like, and then the thing I love too is like we just glossed over this shit, but like how many times has like the Pentagon been like, yeah, no, we have alien shit, and people are like, BRB, our golden god is trying to overthrow the Capitol, so give me a second with your alien shit.
Oh, that's so true.
Right?
Yeah, it didn't really get the coverage it deserved, did it? They were like, here's some actual US Navy footage that is verified, and we can't explain it, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, don't really care.
I know. And the craziest thing is that shit was leaked like 2 years ago by the dude from Blink-182.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, he's doing his fucking job. It's not even his job. Like, this guy's making amazing records. Like, what the fuck? I know.
Someone's actually delivering on their promise.
Yeah. And it's the Blink-182 dude. Who knew? Who knew, man?
What a hero.
Well, dude, we are at the 1 hour mark, dude. So I don't want to keep you any longer. I know it's super late where you are. So
listen, it's up to you. I can do a little bit longer unless you need to get rid of me. I'm having a.
I don't think, Tom. Do we have another? Are you still here, Tom? I don't know if he's here or not. We might have another show we're running into. So
Sure, of course.
Okay. Oh, he said you're good. All right, cool. We can run for a little bit.
Let's just get 10 minutes more. I'm having
10 minutes more. Perfect, man. That's great. Or we should do just fuck with everybody and do 10 minutes of silence. Just. No, but I'm glad because we got on a good topic too. Do you guys have any of that shit going on in England over there with the like? Are they slowly releasing like anything? In Europe?
There's little bits come out every now and then. We did have one recently. Similar. It was fighter pilots saw something. Ministry of Defense.
Right. Which, by the way, that is such a badass name. Like Ministry of Defense, it's the most mystical. I don't want to get all Harry Potter on you, but like, you know what I mean? Where it's like that's a cool name for a thing. Like I would be.
Well, it's also like the best bit of PR ever. Like they're not doing anything defending, are they? Christ.
That's so great.
Stroke. Yeah, we're pretty old school with our names still.
Yeah.
Home Office. I always quite like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Home Security, Home Office. I quite like that.
Do you guys get too involved? I don't. I'll be honest. I don't watch. I haven't watched The Crown yet, even though that's like really everybody's really obsessing over it. And I've heard it's good. But I don't know, like the Meghan Markle stuff over here that people obsess over. Like, do you guys take the Queen seriously? I don't understand. Like, how does?
Well, no, same thing. About 51% of the country do.
Oh,
and
okay.
51% of the country are like, why the fuck do we have to pay some of our taxes to support a bunch of people who've never worked in their life and also have a private property portfolio that's worth billions? You know, these people don't need our support, but they get it. They're billionaires. They're the biggest landowners in the UK.
It's fucking wild.
Which is crazy. So, like, a lot of, like, the big posh streets in London, actually, the Queen is their landlord, owns all of those buildings. Like, but people don't kind of realise that, I don't think. But
holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's crazy. They own, like, half the fucking country still, like, in land. And, yeah, I mean... There's always the argument that they're good for tourism. They bring a lot of money in to the economy because of tourism. But I think, well, I that's not really enough of a reason for me to have, like, essentially a tax-funded paedophile ring.
Yeah. Exactly. It'd be like if you paid for Abbey Road. You know what I mean? Like if you were just shelling out like a shit ton of money. Because that brings in like the excuse of tourism doesn't really work, I feel like.
It's just fucking bullshit, man. And it just comes down to your politics. I think there's a lot of people in this country who are still bootlickers essentially, and they like the idea of having royalty and being in their place and being told what to do by posh people. But I think
there is a weird comfort to that. I don't even know what you would like. People like to know that they have a line which is so weird because I feel like if you're just decent anyway, like there's a line you don't cross. I don't need
exactly it. Yeah.
I don't need to have it beaten
Yeah,
into me.
it's that constant. It's that thing that the royal family are there. Yeah, it gives some people some kind of comfort, which I find a bit disturbing that people need that. But
yeah,
I mean, and then they could do just a little bit more to help people, and they'd go up a lot in my estimation. And they don't even do that. They just don't do anything. They don't do anything to help anyone really. They've got a lot of charities in their name, but fucking so what? That's not one of those.
It's the same way whenever I think about the Vatican and shit like that too, where I'm just like, if you just charge the fucking tax, if you made them pay taxes, we'd be fine.
That's it. And
handle some shit.
Although what I will say is the Crown is really good. Really.
Oh, good.
Really
okay, great. Hey, I'm fine for the entertainment purpose. I'll watch the shit out of it. I'll definitely watch that show.
It's very good. Very.
Yeah, we did the same thing with with the money thing with like when Biden got into my producer's saying great show, by the way. So thank you. He's good. He's great. This is a blast, by the way, man. I'm having a really good time. But when Biden got into office, and then they were still hemming and hawing about like the what do you call it? The stimulus checks. I'm like, you have the easiest. It's so simple. Give people fucking money. Like that is like, what is this debate over? It's you have the ability to be the fucking hero now that you said you were going to do. And they're like, negotiations what? People are getting evicted. They're sick. They've been a year out of work.
Yeah.
Wild, man.
So how much was that? Was it like $1,500?
$1,400, yeah. And it was supposed to be, here's the thing though. It was supposed to be 2,000, right? And then they decided, since they gave us an extra 600 of unemployment, which is like a separate thing, the stimulus check only had to be 1,400. And I was like, are you fucking like, you pieces of shit?
Love it.
Love it. So yeah, we got $1,400. And and then there were still stipulations on that too, because there were some people. So I have friends who have they have decent jobs or whatever. So then they didn't qualify for the check, but they have a decent job, but they have a mortgage and 3 kids. So that's like compound. I'm like, how are they not factoring this shit in when they're making these like? But it's because I don't know what it's like. Again, it's because all our politicians are rich for whatever reason. I don't even know how that came to. I mean, I do, corporate interests and stuff, but like the fact that not one of them, except for for the longest, I think it took, I don't know when Bernie Sanders became like a millionaire, whenever he sold his book or whatever the hell it was. But like, even that guy was like one of the only few dudes for the longest time who just was like a regular guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was it. But everybody else is
parallel. Yeah. It's so similar to him. And we had the same with Jeremy Corbyn. Like he lives round the corner, literally in a relatively normal house. Wow. He's the, like you said, he's the only one. Like,
right.
And I don't know why more people don't question that. It's like, hang on a second. Why? Like the Chancellor of the Exchequer, so like our finance guy who does all of the taxes and everything, is a legit billionaire. He's married to like the woman who is the daughter of the biggest Indian petrochemical company. So like he's a billionaire and he's making decisions about people's livelihoods, people who've got nothing.
Yeah.
And I just think, why are we not like all up in arms about that? Like, why is that accepted? Why is that fine?
Exactly. It's just a constant fucking struggle. It blows me the fuck away, dude. It's like I'm like, and people who don't like AOC over here is another one who, thank God there's like her, Ilhan Omar. Like I like that over the last, like it's a bummer that Sanders didn't win anything, but I know he's got constituents and people who believe the same stuff.
Yeah.
That got elected and coming into the fold. So it doesn't feel like it's completely hopeless, but holy shit, dude. Like when you, that was the one, if there's I don't even want to say there was a silver lining to Trump, but in some respect, I feel like that level of chaos pulled back the veil of like, this is what the Democrats have been not doing. Like they're feckless and they'll do something if pushed hard enough. Right. Which is annoying in and of itself, but at least they will try, like they'll be persuaded to do the right thing. Whereas the other side of the aisle, I mean, exposed completely because they don't give a fuck. Like, so that was the thing it did. I think it finally lifted the curtain where they were like, wow, these people are genuine pieces of shit. Our country is way more right than I just read this the other day, and you can tell me if they teach this over there. Apparently, like other countries teach that American politics is far more right. Like it's just different shades of right wing. So like they like I think they see like Sanders is obviously on the left, but and Warren is like somewhere around there, and she wound up being a piece of shit, which is upsetting. But like she's there or whatever. And then Obama, Hillary Clinton or whatever, like you can just see them, and then like Trump's falling off the edge. And they were basically like, this is how other countries actually explain American politics, is like, these people are crazy. Everybody who claims to be liberal is slightly to the right of center. And then you kind of have Bernie on the end who's lefty. And that's it. So it's crazy.
I think that's pretty fair, to be honest. I think most people understand America as, being, hyper capitalist. So within that model, even a centrist is right by European standards. Obama would probably be a left-leaning conservative here, I imagine.
Really? That's what we, that was the thing we wound up being, especially like my gen, like what we were the ones who voted him into office, and we were like, hope, change, super great. And we got that was like a disappointing, like he wasn't his presidency did a lot of good shit, but at the end of the day, it led to a lot, like his not being strong enough and not left enough to push the things we needed forward, made it harder, made it paved a kind of way for Trump. And that was the disappointing part about hearing Democrats say we have to get back to normal. And I wanted to be like, normal is what led us here. Just a heads up, little clue. Let me draw you a map real quick. Click. Like
again, I keep saying this, but it's just very similar here. Like our last Labour government were so centrist.
Yeah,
they didn't really stand for anything. They were just kind of like very pragmatic and were basically just chasing votes. They were just, oh, the country want this. Okay, cool, we'll do that. And they didn't really stand for anything. And I totally agree. I think it showed the right that actually it's like fertile ground to like go a lot harder. Mm-hmm. And again, we had Corbyn come along, who's the first properly left-wing person in age, and he just got fucking annihilated.
I love Corbyn. My friends and I were all like rooting for Corbyn, and like I said, I've got family out there too, so I know they voted for him and stuff, and it was a fucking disappointing thing. Have you read those articles where like this is all the politics talk or whatever, where they're basically like billionaires actually do have a plan if climate change, like if stuff's like they're not like they're ignoring it, but it's because they believe they have a way out. And this one billionaire, they didn't name names, and this guy was like, this reporter like buddied up to him and got to like talk to him about like what his plans are. So he did all these interviews or whatever, and then they would actually seek consultants to be like, so if the world ends or if this happens, how do I keep the people working for me, to make sure that they're still working for me, like their security, their whatever. And one of the consultants was like, well, you could treat them like people and, not just keep them on the payroll. And the guy was literally like, nah. And that's literally the answer he gave. The guy was like, no, we don't, I'm not going to do that. He was like, they were like, invite them into the house, make sure they're part of the family, because they were worried about money not meaning anything after a while. And then I was like, they were like, no, we're not going to do that. You mean
the thing these fucking people, right, these billionaires, I feel like saying to them, do you realize you're going to be dead in like 15, 20 years time?
Exactly.
Just fucking chill out.
Yeah.
Like, just let it go. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah. It's just stop. That's going to be the name of this episode. Billionaires, just stop. Just fucking stop.
Relax. Just get a job, fine. Give loads of charity and just float around the Mediterranean for the rest of the days. Like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to prove?
Yeah, exactly. There's a fucking website called Spend Bill Gates Money, and the amount of shit have you seen that thing where you can like click on like I want to buy an airline, and it like doesn't make a fucking dent in his thing, and it's great. And the other thing is too is like I always try to make this clear too, is like it's not that nobody like people. It's not that people don't want to work. People want to work. It's just that we want to have a house for the effort we're putting into whatever the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
you just want to go for it. Like, you want to be able to actually keep your head above water and work to, not working, not just be something that keeps you alive. Work should be something that's actually rewarding.
Have you ever heard the it's a good analogy that I'll use every now and again, but basically what they would do with cats on ships back in the day. So this is like how they invented cat food, why cat food came to be, essentially. So they would bring cats on ships to handle the mice situation, and they never fucking fed the cats because they figured that would make them better hunters. Well, the cats never fucking caught the mice. They wound up getting tired, lethargic, that whole thing, and then they fed them, and they caught the mice better because they were like, oh,
good.
And I use that every time where I'm like, you don't understand. People want to fucking work. If you pay them, if you feed them, treat them with respect, they'll do the job. But if you don't, you're gonna get people who are just not able to do it.
And they're doing a fucking shitload better because
we all want to work. None of us wanted this pandemic. None of us wanted to sit on our asses without, socializing or any interaction or shit to do. So it's the same thing.
I can't believe I've never heard that. That's such a good analogy, and it's so true. Like they did a study in like Finland or Sweden or something where they gave everyone but universal basic income, essentially. So they paid for everyone's life. They gave everyone a salary of, I don't know what it would have been, but the equivalent of, a fairly good job. Mm-hmm. And then said, if you want to go and do a job, you can do that as well. You can supplement your income if you want, or you can literally stay at home all day playing video games, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. And obviously everyone went out and worked fucking hard, like way harder than they did. And like there's something about productivity went up, but also like innovation went up because people had like the mental space to actually think. And like they weren't just on the hamster wheel. They were actually like, well, how can I improve this? How can I make this better? And like art went up, their culture improved obviously massively because people had the space to actually create art. And I love that analogy. That's so good. But yeah, it turned out to be true. I
didn't know that about Sweden. It's so impressive. It's crazy to me. It kind of bums me out when I think of what we could accomplish if we had, we didn't have to worry about electric heating, housing, health. If we weren't just burdened by that fucking nonsense, like how much we could achieve. It's weird that that's the power structure we wound up in.
Love it. It's a world designed for ourselves for no reason.
Well, I think we've solved most of the problems in like an hour and 15. I think if people just listen to this, we're good.
Complete it, guys. Complete
it. So, dude, this has been an absolute blast for me, man. You're a cool guy, and thank you for doing this.
It's been awesome. Happy to come back anytime, mate. I've had a great time.
Oh, please, man. I'm definitely gonna. I want you guys to come back on. I want you to come back on again, and hopefully your brother will be able to join us too. And I'm looking forward to that new album, dude. So whenever you guys get it done, I'll be one of the first guys.
Didn't talk about music at all there. Sorry.
You know what? No, that's kind of actually that's okay because I actually like this to be a conversation about the person and who they are, and if it's always fun to just go off on a tangent. So
okay, good.
Yeah. Good. So I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Thanks for sticking around and thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night. Peace. Thanks, man.
Dystopia tonight.